Excuse me. What in the world are you thinking?
Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is to tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I gotta say.
We are going to get quick, down, and dirty on this one. What up, y'all? KMB the Sexy Ninja in the place to be for C Plus Studios, and this is the New World Podcast, brother. It is fueled, it is powered. You will acknowledge crazyhoodies.com, and you will check out the designs made by the almighty Big Daddy. Okay. You already know the spiel. If you're subscribed to the Sleep Plus Studios feed, you get all these great podcasts, that's including the New World Podcast, but we got to get down and dirty. AEW Dynamite. Tony, Taz, Excalibur on commentary. I got to say, this is probably like I don't know, my least favorite Dynamite I've been watching so far. But we started off with Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal got the win. They kicked out his homies and stuff like that. And, Darby is fighting back, and he had, his ribs are all hurt and stuff like that. But the reason why this match fell really flat for me, like, the match was good itself. I'm glad Jay got the win, but it was because of this fake sting that was Cole Carter. Because remember, Jay was like, I was told your weakness. I was told your weakness from somebody from you, someone that knows you, somebody, blah, 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 blah. They were teasing it and this and that. And for weeks, and finally we're here with Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. The one thing about this match that I really liked is the fact that Jay Lethal ran down the ramp and they got to fight. Like, they want to fight each other. But the fake Sting got me confused. I was like, at first I thought it was Sting. And I was like, wait, no, that dude's too small to be Sting. Then they're like, oh my God, it's Cole Carter. And I'm like, cool. And then, and then all of a sudden Darby's getting up, and out of nowhere, Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett is the one that knows Darby's weakness, and guess what Darby Allin's weakness is? It's Sting. Whatever the fuck that means. He's in his shadow. I don't know. This was just a hot pile of I don't know what. Jeff Jarrett, the last outlaw, does choke on that slap nuts. He's declaring war on AEW, and what's funny is, like, the crowd, you still suck. I understand Jeff Jarrett's relationship with Jay Lethal because they had, they had that relationship outside of AEW, especially when they had the match with Ric Flair's last match and stuff like that. But I don't know. It was just one of those things where I was just like, I don't know. This was just awful. In my opinion, this was by far one of the worst things I've ever seen. Just because, not because it's just Jeff Jarrett, but story-wise, I was like, okay, fake Sting. Okay, Cole Carter. Okay, that's cool. Then they're like, Jeff Jarrett. And I'm like, yeah, you lost me. You lost me at the front door, man. This was just bad. Then we got John Moxley and Lee next from the Firm. That's another thing. They got the Firm. They got the Embassy. They got the factions in this show were a little bit annoying just because I was like, oh yeah, the Firm. Okay, that's the Firm. Oh no, that's the Embassy. But they played an MGF package before this match, showing what happened to him, and then he fired the Firm and everything like that. And we got into this match with Lee and Moxley. Moxley won, and this was an eliminator. I don't know how they called it. An eliminator AEW championship match where if Lee Moriarty won, he would receive a title shot in the future. But there's going to be an AEW eliminator tournament match at Full Gear on the 19th. So another thing I was kind of confused about. I was like, okay, all right. Well, he's like, why don't you just say if he beats him, he gets a match. You don't have to put AEW eliminator match, like AEW championship eliminator match. I don't know. These little things that Tony does when he puts little words inside these things, that couldn't even be Tony. It could be somebody that's been creative. But no, I don't know. But Moxley did a backstage interview, and like I said, I'm almost done with this book. I really want to review it too. I'm almost done with this book, but I'm becoming more and more of a fan of John Moxley, and just his character and just what he does. But he goes for the win. He wins. Lee's not going to get a championship. And then we had during this time too, we had a Race the Elite package. We're really going with that. So more foreshadowing of Kenny and the Young Bucks coming, because out of that, out of report from Dave Meltzer, is a lot of the locker room voted Punk out. A lot, I heard even a Chris Jericho. These are tongue in cheek of what we're hearing, everything like that. But that's what it's coming down to after the aftermath of what happened at that press conference and everything like that. And apparently, I remember when Punk claimed his dog got hurt, that was false. So nothing's stacking in his favor. They don't know what's going to happen to Punk. Where's Punk going to go? Is he going to get a buyout of his contract from Tony Khan just to go sit on the sideline just so he can't go to WWE? I don't even think Triple H wants to deal with the headache of a CM Punk, because if CM Punk went over to WWE, he's going to be shackled. And that's the thing CM Punk doesn't like. He doesn't like to be shackled. He's his own person. He's his own man because he's CM Punk. He's Mr. Pipe Bomb Promo, blah, 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 blah. So people saying he's going to WWE, I highly doubt it. If he does, I'll eat my own words. It's just one of those things. If he does go to WWE, he's going to be on the leash. And this is what he's been bitching about all the time. I'm always on a leash. Goes to AEW, thinks he can get away with everything. Then that happens, and this is where we're at. But I'm glad that Tony picked the Elite over CM Punk. I was talking to Penta about this. I was like, and he's like, Tony picked Elite. I'm like, good. It's called All Elite Wrestling, not All Punk Wrestling. It's the All Elite. That's where it started from. The Elite. The Elite. God. Sorry, folks. But I'm glad we're getting a tease of these gentlemen coming back. But during the match with Moxley and Lee, Lamar Jackson's walking through the crowd. And the crowd is totally whoa, yeah, MVP. I'm like, what the hell's going? I thought it was MJF at first. No MJF on the show because he was hurt last week by the firm and everything like that after he fired them, but no MJF this show. That I think that was another one of the downers. But I understand for storytelling. But then Ethan Page kicked Mox, and I don't know. I don't know what story we're trying to tell with the ending of this match, but Mox got the win. So, but the walking through the crowd, Lamar Jackson, that was fun. Then we go backstage with Renee. She has that. She's supposed to have that interview with Britt Baker and Saraya. I'm sorry. People get on me. They're like, that's your name. I'm like, I know, but Paige was so much easier, and Paige is so embedded in my brain. You know what I mean? But Saraya, I'll be respectful, okay? But she said, because Renee's like, why? What's the status? Are you coming back to the ring? Are you going to be wrestling again? What's the point of all this? Blah 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 blah. And she's like, I have one more doctor's visit. I'm not going to say anything. But because the biggest controversy out of all of this, I remember when she came over, was WWE won't clear her to wrestle, but AEW will. So now Tony's in this kind of tough spot of well, do I clear her then? Because it's kind of bad at being these doctors won't clear her, but my doctors know better. They're going to clear her, or my doctors are going to say the same thing. We shall see. But she says she has one more doctor's visit. Britt Baker ain't there. Why? Because you don't command Britt Baker to do anything, okay? That was the point, and she has a interview later on with Tony Schiavone. But we get another Tony Schiavone with William Regal. I'm sorry, Lord Regal, and he's hyping up everything, and Blackpool Combat Club, BPCC, okay? He's backstage and everything, they're talking. Then we get to the birthday bash, daddy-ass birthday bash, and, I really need to stack in Rampage, because clearly stories are being told on Rampage that kind of bleed over to Dynamite, and that's just another form of me trying to stuff all these shows inside my week. And the reason why I'm getting down and dirty real quick on this episode is because we have an event coming up for this week that I have to get ready for, and so the day job calls, but I really wanted to get through this. I'm not going to do a watch-along match. I got a couple of those planned, though, for separate things, so those are to come. But we got to the birthday bash. Billy Gunn's Hands are all taped up, been in the game for 30 years. Sneaky swerve, broke his hand, so he can't do scissor me. But the best part about it is they gave him a gift. The first gift was foam scissor hands. So if your hands are broken, you can still scissor me daddy ass. That was great. They got a gift from the crowd, from a kid, and that kid just like was blowing up like, oh man. And the best part about this was the Acclaimed were like, yo, the final gift is adoption papers so you can be our daddy, our true daddy in the eyes of the law. Then that, and Billy's like, I get to be your daddy. Billy's kids come out, okay? And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Morrison levels Gunn, and the Firm comes in, and then they're beating down the Acclaim, they're beating down Billy Gunn. Then here comes FTR to the rescue, and it's just like, whew, there's so much to unpack here. Like, you got so much talent on this show, on the roster. I understand that's a challenge to stuff as much as you can into a show, but it's like it's two different things. Like, I feel like there's Dynamite where we're telling the main story with building Mox and MJF, and then there's a story where Mox is the second match of the show, and we're not really building him and MJF until their fight because they barely have 2 matches for Full Gear, which is on the 19th, which is 3 weeks away, and they have that 3 matches. I'm sorry, the Eliminator, Terminator, whatever. Full Gear is coming up, and we have 3 matches. So I'm wondering where we're going. So where are we going to that show? Where's the build to that show? I'm already sold. The ticket's already sold. I want to see MJF. I want to see Jon Moxley. So after this, we'll go back to Tony. He's with Britt Baker, and she says, yeah, you're on my time. You're on my time. Okay? And we go into Chris Jericho, the Ocho, versus a former Ring of Honor champion. So they kind of swerved me on this. They're like, it doesn't have to be a specific Ring of Honor champion. They can be tag team Ring of Honor champions. They can be women's tag. Like, it was a much more broad term of former Ring of Honor champion. More of a broad term. So, like, it was open to everybody. But, hey, Colt Cabana, folks. Colt Cabana comes out. Boom, boom, boom. Mr. Colt Cabana comes out. In this match, I was like, oh, snap, Jericho and Colt Cabana for the Ring of Honor World Championship match. And, they mentioned Colt Cabana as a former 2-time tag team Ring of Honor champion. I don't know what was going on with Colt Cabana, but he had this look on his face like he was nervous or something. His arms taped up, and he did some great spots, but I don't know. Cabana just looked a little off, and there was a little bit of I don't want to use the B word, that happened in the corner where they both fell off on to the apron to the floor. It looked really, really bad. But of course, Chris Jericho got the win. Then then after that, they go upstairs, go up to the ramp. I don't want to say the JSA, but it's the JAS, the Jericho Appreciation Society. But and Jericho's about to disgrace another Ring of Honor veteran and whatnot. They're about to smack him with the belt, but then here comes Claudio, here comes Bryan Danielson. A fight breaks loose. Blackpool Combat Club versus the JAS, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Okay. Like I said, a lot to unpack on this show. A lot. Renee is with Death Triangle. And I gotta say, man, what Pack and the goddamn fucking hammer. It's that ring bell hammer he pulls out. And I don't know if they want to call him Phoenix or FedEx or, FedEx. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone keeps mispronouncing this Ray Phoenix, his name. That's or is it FedEx? Like, everyone says it differently, all the way down to the commentators, all the way down to the ring announcer. It gets a little frustrating. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but it does get a little frustrating. I know that I mispronounce names too. I know I do it. Everybody does it because it's just the way we speak, and But that's besides the point. The fucking hammer came into play. Pack is like, yo, or is it Pock? Pock. See, we're in the craziness. But we finally got to the All Atlantic Championship match. Orange Cassidy versus Luchasaurus versus Ray Phoenix, you tell me. And I was really looking forward to this match. I was like, these guys are gonna tear down the house. There were some great spots. Where still has some storytelling to tell with Luchasaurus because Jungle Boy comes out. They have this great table spot, and like, and they announced like whoever wins this match gets a contract to face somebody at Rampage for a dream of any opponent they want, a dream opponent. And I was like, oh, okay, but the championship's on the line, and you have a contract that's on the line to face whoever you want. But they don't let Orange, because Orange wins this match. They don't let Orange really pick. It's kind of picked for him because the point of the contract is, I want to pick who I want, a dream opponent, and then face him at Rampage. This one was Shibata coming out for New Japan and challenges Orange, and then the contract comes out, and Mr. Orange Cassidy, he's cool, man. He's a cool dude. He's from wherever. He weighs whatever. He carries the title in a backpack. I love that. But Shibata was last seen at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. But yeah, it challenges Orange Cassidy, so now that's set up for Rampage and everything like that. But what was awesome was Rocky Romero came out with him, with Shibata and the Best Friends. But we're set up for Rampage. Now we go backstage. Tony Schiavone's with Swerve in Our Glory, and out of nowhere, the biggest boss, Rick Ross, was in the back drinking champagne with Swerve, and then there's a little tension between Keith and Swerve, and he's like, I'm all about honor, I'm all about respect, I'm all about this, blah, 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 what are we doing here? What's going on? We're number one contenders for the title, blah, 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 he's going on and on about this, and you can feel the tension, but Rick Ross, the boss, was like, man, we family, brother, we can't fight, you guys gotta get a tag team time, yeah, man, because I'm Rick Ross, the boss. Okay. So Marina Schaefer versus Jade Kargal. I've heard of this Jade Kargal. I don't see her that much on Ring of Honor Dynamite. This is my first time actually seeing, I've seen her in backstage promos and stuff like that, but never really seen her in the ring. I didn't know she was 40-0. She's never lost a match. That's out, and people are like, well, you didn't know that? No. She is just somebody, she's a TBS women's champion, and this was a TBS championship match, but Nyla Rose stole her title, and, a lot of that was happening on Rampage with that storyline. Yeah, they mentioned it on Dynamite a few times, backstage interviews, but I will tell you the worst fucking thing about this was when Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero come out and they're doing commentary over a match that is happening in the ring with Marina Schaefer and Jade Kargal. I was just like, stop talking. Stop, please. For the sake, let me listen to the actual commentators of the show. They even make a comment. Taz is like, well, at least we still got our jobs. Then, I don't know. Jade's crew tries to steal the title back, but doesn't work. Now the Rose knocks him out. I don't know. It's just a hot mess here. Malachi Black was teased of going back to WWE, but clearly that is not the case. House of Black is still coming. We had a Malachi Black package. He was being wrapped in sheets and then burned up and sent to the ocean or some stuff like that. Yeah, but they announced Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm too. I think I said that earlier for the interim women's championship. Please get rid of that word. Please, for the sake of and for the sake of everything in pro wrestling, please get rid of that word. Toni Storm is the women's champion. She is the AEW women's champion, not interim. God, so many frustrating things tonight. Now we have the Ring of Honor TV Championship match: Samoa Joe versus Brian Cage. Samoa Joe wins. This match is two big dudes going at it. It's very technical on Joe's side. Brian Cage looked good and everything like that, but he tapped to Samoa Joe. Then the Embassy attacks, and then out of nowhere, well, not that part, but then the TNT champion comes out, Wardlow, to save Joe because they're War Joe, terrible, the worst tag team name in history, in my opinion. You can take that to the bank and deposit it, okay? That's what I'm saying. Worst tag team name, take it to the bank and deposit that shit. All right. Then out of nowhere, Powerhouse Hobbs comes in, lays waste to Wardlow, picks up the TNT Championship. I was funny. It's like when I saw the TNT Championship, I was like, but aren't they on TBS now? And then I was like, oh, Rampage is TNT and TBS is Dynamite. Yeah. This show gets 2.5 stars out of 5. There's just so much going on. I'm taking so many notes through this thing. There's things that are just mentally frustrating. And I got to say, out of these weeks of watching Dynamite, this has to be by far my least favorite Dynamite episode because there is so much going on. And I understand you want to pack your punch into a show and make some noise and whatnot, you know. But starting it off with Jeff Jarrett being revealed and stuff like that and putting I don't know. Okay? 2.5 out of 5. Tell me your score. Tell me what you thought. What was your highs? What was your lows? What made you love it? What made you hate it? What made you do this, that, okay? Then after that, like and subscribe. Share it with your grandma. Share it with your grandpa. Share it with the bum down at Walmart. I am KMB, the Sexy Ninja. And as always, the New World Podcast is for life, brother.
Second, that's not. Is that? He's waiting on Sting.